5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This broadcast, telecast, podcast, and whatever the hell else it is copyrighted by the Rad Network and the Rob and Steve Sports Show, all found at theradnetwork.com, and is for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction, accounts, or descriptions of this madness without the express permission of the Rad Network and Williams Broadcasting and Rob's Really Mean Lawyers is prohibited. So just don't do it. It's the Rob and Steve Sports Show.
Right next to me is saying it. You may hear him. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. The heavyweight champion is taking the mandatory 8 count.
Welcome to 2 hours of sports and nothing but sports.
Here comes Chicago. 17 seconds. 17 seconds from Game 7 or from championship number 6. Jordan. Open. Chicago with the lead.
Email the show at ras@theradnetwork.com.
Here it comes. Oh my goodness. In your life have you seen anything like that?
And now the Rad Network presents the Rob and Steve Sports Show.
I remember, Steve, we got an email, and I'm trying to remember if I read it on the air or not, or if I just kept putting it aside and putting it aside, but somebody had written in, and they were wondering if we had sports shows that we watched. Did we ever talk about that? Because I remember, I don't know if it was just you and I texting. I remember how much you disliked Barstool Sports when you checked it out for a while we were on hiatus. That was the only one that you ever pointed out to me that you were like, I can't do it.
I struggle a bit with sports talk shows because so much of it to me is phony. Or like Barstool, it's not even sports. It just, they get on to, just various things that have nothing to do with sports. And so I just don't have the interest in it. And then you get, the Stephen A. Smith with his whatever show he had that, was that debate the two sides. Well, Stephen A. Smith won every one because he got to pick which side he wanted to. I always felt sorry for Shannon Sharp or whoever the person was on the other side. And it's that. So I've struggled with sports talk over the years.
No, it's a minefield, if you will, and Barstool is basically doing guy radio, not sports radio, it doesn't. Look, I respect the hell out of all these guys. There's a reason I'm bringing this up, but it's Stephen A. I like Stephen A. a lot, and he's gotten away from that one-on-one thing, which I like now that he's doing First Take. In the mornings, it's usually with different panels and different people, and it feels like he's being a little more real. But he's such an intimidating presence. But he by the way, we'll talk about last night. He was blaming before the game. He was blaming Trump for the Knicks losing, so that was fun. But I have found Colin Cowherd. He's okay. I can handle him. But the guy that's in the news today is Pat McAfee, who. Nobody had heard of Pat McAfee when he was a punter for the Colts. And then he turns this thing into a show, and then it's a YouTube sensation. And, hey, maybe the best thing about Aaron Rodgers, depending on how you feel about Pat McAfee, is that he helped make Pat McAfee because he had all the exclusive interviews with Aaron Rodgers over those years of will he, won't he, he is a Packer, how's he feel, where's he going, et cetera. And it got all of this viral attention onto McAfee, and it got him in his ESPN contract, which is where he is now. He's still huge on YouTube. He's still huge on ESPN. It's not just his show. He's also doing College Game Day and stuff. And he is, and what's interesting about this story to me is ESPN is in the midst of massive layoffs. This will be like round 6, where they are cutting, but they are rewarding the Stephen A. Smiths of the world and the Pat McAfees of the world who can provably bring eyeballs. Word is that they are in discussions about a very lucrative extension for McAfee, who currently has 2 years left on his current deal with ESPN. It includes a licensing and production agreement for his daily show and then the additional compensation for College Game Day. The word is he makes $17 million, McAfee does, per year for his show, 13 million for his college stuff. Now McAfee for his show, he pays all the overhead, he pays his staff. So he himself isn't making that 17 million, his company is. It's a good amount of money. The 13 million, that's all his for doing the college stuff. That's Pat McAfee being Pat McAfee. And the word is that he will go from that combined 30 million to $60 million per year as part of a new contract, whether it kicks in immediately or after his existing deal ends in 28. That's kind of the negotiation stuff. That is an eye-popping number. Word is that McAfee's agents asked for 100 million. ESPN came in at 40 million, and they're doing that thing we do. Okay, let's talk around 60 million. I think it's whatever you think of McAfee, and for me, McAfee a little bit goes a long way. I can do it for about, he gets great guests, which I appreciate. Other than that, when they're doing the locker room thing, it just kind of depends, I think, on my mood. Either way, I think it's a fantastic story. I love seeing people pull this off. He turned this thing into a brand that is so impressive, and to see a story like this, hey, I think it's a great story. I really do.
And for me, the shows I do watch, I watch The Herd. I enjoy that show most of the time. Sometimes it gets a little, uh, but I like the Pat McAfee show. As you said, he brings in great guests. Colin Coward brings in great guests as well. So I listen and watch on certain days because he has that same pattern of who's coming on to talk this college football, pro football, etc. I like the Mac. I'm not a fan of Pat McAfee though on the college part. It
Oh,
just
yeah.
I like the show. I like what they do. I just when you pull them out and you put them on the sidelines for the NFL games, the college games, whatever it is, I'm not a fan of him in those scenarios. But his show itself does a wonderful job. He really does.
Yeah, you're right. They stretch his personality as much as they can. It's kind of the anti Tom Brady. Brady doesn't belong in the booth. Brady belongs on shows like McAfee's and The Herd as a guest or sitting around with the guys. And McAfee needs to be leading a show like that. But you're right. When they put him out into it, he just takes over in a way. And when I watch College Game Day, it ain't so much what I expect from College Game Day. Chris Fowler and the gang. It's more McAfee is more and more kind of bigfooting. So I agree with you. Either way, that's the story. That's one of the many breaking stories. We've got to get into the Sorsby thing. But how do we not start with, as I alluded to, the San Antonio Spurs? Third consecutive game. They blew a double digit first quarter lead. Although they were able to hold on to it down the stretch, they had some sloppy play from the Knicks. No one's bragging about the quality of this game last night for the most part. They snapped the Knicks' 13-game winning streak in the postseason, and the Spurs probably salvaged their chances here at a championship. Second time ever, first time since '93 that the road team has won 3 consecutive games. Game 4 tomorrow night, Madison Square Garden. First news: Trump will not be at tomorrow night's game. He was at last night's. Trump will not be attending tomorrow. That was officially confirmed about 2 hours ago. Spurs did everything right in the first 12 minutes. They did. They sprinted out to an early 12-point lead. Wemby had a game-high 32 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. All 5 San Antonio starters scored in double figures. And everybody describes the energy of Madison Square Garden just getting sucked out the minute the Spurs went up to their big lead. To whatever extent that plays a role in the end of the game, I don't know those type of things. Let's start there, Steve. Last night, obviously, the Spurs had to win.
They
They
did.
had. You can't go down 0-3. It's not yet, in my opinion, a series changer. That could happen tomorrow night. But they stayed in it, and they showed they can do it, and they showed they can do it at the Garden. As I said, a lot of people, and I was watching the game, obviously, and I think I do agree with people that are saying it wasn't great basketball. It really wasn't for the most part.
Uh, well, the Spurs did come out and great, fell apart in the second quarter. The thing that I liked about the game, though, is it seemed to me the Spurs had that intensity, played a lot better defense than they've played in the past. They forced some turnovers from the Knicks. They converted that into points. And Mike Brown in his post game goes at the refs, and there was that disparity in free throws because the Spurs won it on the turnovers with the transition points, and they won on the free throws. Uh, but you know what? They still had to make some shots. I mean, I get on De'Aaron Fox and did not have a good night again, 4 for 14, but he hit the big bucket when he needed to. He distributed the ball. So the box score doesn't look the greatest. It looks like he had another bad game, but hitting that bucket with 12 seconds left um, it makes up for a lot of other misses throughout that game.
You alluded to Mike Brown, the Knicks coach. He credited the Spurs for winning the game, but he did not extend the same pleasantries to the officials. Brown pointed his finger at the stat sheet, which showed the Spurs taking 3 times as many free throws as the Knicks in the second half. He said, quote, I talked to the officials. They outshot us 14-3 in the third quarter from the free throw line. I talked to them and they said, well, this is a foul. This is a foul. That's the question I had with them is you're right. Maybe we did foul, but they fouled too. So not an equal disbursement of the fouls, according to Coach Brown. The Knicks shot just 36% in the second half. They were a ghastly 7 for 27 in the fourth. Brown continued to say they're a great team, talking about the Spurs. There are some things that we can control that I didn't think that we controlled tonight. And then, like I said, maybe we fouled 24 times, but I'm baffled that they only fouled 8 in the second time. The Knicks players wouldn't go there. Brown did. You say, is this a little bit of whining? Is this protecting the players? Is this doing what he has to do? Because Mike Brown was frustrated especially in that fourth quarter. He was not happy with how things were going in every sense, and he directed a lot of it at the officials. There was one great shot of Brown yelling at the officials, and there's these two young ladies in the background that have these great seats, and they're like pointing at Mike Brown like he's going nuts, he's losing his mind. And for Brown, he was kind of. So what do you make of his reaction?
I'm just curious if he called up Bickerstaff in Detroit and said, "Hey, what do you think here? Oh, that's right. You got called for 50 some fouls to the other team's, low 20s." It's what you see in playoff basketball. You do at times see these discrepancies. I don't think it should be as egregious as sometimes it is. Don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but sometimes games get called to extend series and or what they don't call that throughout the season, but now they're calling it in the playoffs. I don't like that. Be consistent, right or wrong, be consistent. I preach that in every facet in life. But we see them change it, and there are times they call it one way, they don't call it the other way. Let's think back to when the Lakers came back big, or we could go on a lot of different series that the
Right.
ways the refs called the game swung the outcome of what probably should have happened. It's look, you're still up 2-1. Don't allow the officials to dictate who wins or loses this series. Take command of it and go out and win.
Did you feel like there was a discrepancy when you were watching? Did you feel like the Spurs were getting the benefit more than the Knicks?
I hate to say this, but I always feel there's a little bit to that in the NBA when you watch a team go up by 14, 15, 20, 25 points. In the olden days, we didn't see these kind of comebacks that have become commonplace.
Yeah.
And it's amazing as you watch them. And again, the refs can call anything they want, but if you can't put the ball through the hoop, it doesn't mean anything. But it just has always seemed that, oh no, we're up by 24. The fouls change a little bit. You give that little bit of an advantage to the one team to make the game and bring it back in and rein it back into a competitive game. It's one of the reasons my wife sits and says, look, you don't watch it until 2 minutes to go in the game because it doesn't really matter. I had a friend last night text me and said, why does anyone ever watch an NBA game before the last 4 or 5 minutes of the game? Because none of it matters. They're still going to end up at that same outcome per the refs or whatever it is. I don't fully buy into that, but it does seem to change at times. A lot more money to be made if this series goes 7 as opposed to 4.
I had 2 texts from 2 different friends during the game. Both of them are not Knicks fans. They're just sports fans. They don't have a horse in the race, but they both at different times on different calls texted and said, "Boy, it really looks like the refs are going hard on the Knicks and easy on the Spurs." There was a version of that in both of their texts. That's why I asked if you in real time, because they were feeling it in real time, and I was more focused on what I thought was overall just kind of just weird sloppy play when I did watch. Either way, the Knicks themselves, they didn't want to use the officiating as an excuse. Carl Anthony Towns said that ain't what cost us the game. We turned the ball over. We didn't execute. Meanwhile, Jalen Brunson pointed to the turnovers rather than the officiating as well. So the players, they either don't want to say it, they don't want the fines, or they don't believe it. They were all over. We sucked. Which is what I heard a lot of analysts this morning saying is the Knicks just weren't the Knicks last night, not the Knicks that have won 12 in a row or 13 in a row or whatever it was.
I agree with that. And I give some credit to the Spurs defense. At times against the Thunder, they were outstanding. I didn't think they were very good defensively in either of game one or two.
Now, I heard a really what I thought was a goofy 10-minute segment on Get Up this morning, the early show on ESPN. They spent a whole segment discussing with their 5-person panel the Stephen A. Smith premise of Trump shouldn't be there, not for politics, but because it's a distraction, it changes everybody's routines, etc. And the discussion was based around did the hoopla, did the pomp and circumstance, did it throw the Knicks off? Because they're not used to the Garden being packed right before the game. Everybody was told to get there early. Everybody that was there that's on TV said, I've never seen it like that before the game. It was absolutely packed. You got all that. You got the booing when they showed. And I'm sitting there watching and I'm going, wait a minute. Didn't the Spurs play in the exact same environment? And aren't the Spurs much younger overall and less experienced than the Knicks? And the Spurs are the ones that are in an unfamiliar place. This is the Knicks' home. Okay, so it's a little different. It's louder. That's what the finals are all about. I could not make sense of the segment. They didn't mention Stephen A. Smith, so I don't know if it was a sucking up segment. He's not on the show. But it was clearly based in the did all of the distractions get into the Knicks' heads early? Huh? And the Spurs overcame them? I don't know. What am I missing here to the validity of this conversation?
I don't put a whole lot of validity to it. Now the complaints. The people were there early. I don't know. Aren't most arenas? Shouldn't the fans show up early, be excited for the game, get to their seats, not roll in the second inning or the third inning, leave in the seventh inning? Rob, you've gone to a lot of games. I can tell you that I've even been outside of T-Mobile Arena for nights games when I don't even have a ticket. I just happen to be in the area. We go down there, and it's packed. I mean, people want to get in there as soon as possible. Booing? I don't know. I hear booing all the time in these arenas. I think it's just excuses and trying to cling to something. And I hate when sports goes political, but it sure sounds to me that they're trying to force that political part into this because the showing up early, loud fans, disruption, a little bit different. Knicks should be happy the arena sold out. Even with all those ticket prices, they should be happy it sold out. They boo the opposing teams. In this case, it was a person, but they boo the opposing teams all the time. Manny Machado, you're telling me he didn't get booed in Boston for ending Dustin Pedroia's career, for several games after that? It's part of the thing. And as you said, the Spurs are much younger, much more inexperienced on the road. And they had to go through it all as well. So it didn't affect them. It affected the Knicks. If that's the case, the Knicks got to worry on their mental game and figure out how to put these outside distractions away and concentrate on the game.
Yeah, that was the part that really bothered me. That last part was that they were just dismissed. It's like the Spurs weren't even there in this discussion. It was all about whether this chaos affected the Knicks. Their position on the people there early, and I can't speak to this intelligently, is that, and we're talking everybody from Mike Greenberg to there were some celebrities I saw last night. They weren't talking about it in the relation of it bothering the Knicks. Jon Stewart from The Daily Show was there, and somebody else, Fallon, I think I saw, that were saying, I've never seen the Garden that packed before a game. So their position is your example of like the Dodgers, right? It's never been every ass in the seat when the first pitch is thrown. And so that's why it was throwing the Knicks off because they're not. It's a stupid, stupid argument. I don't expect the Knicks to go as players to say, "Well, we're happy everybody's here," but I also don't expect them to go, "Oh my God, there's people. Oh, I'm thrown off."
Isn't that the way it's supposed to be? I do my very best. My wife fights me on this to get there as soon as the gates open. I want to walk around the stadium. I want to, I'm paying good money. I want to have the whole experience. I don't want to just I get there in the top of the first or bottom of the first. I leave in the eighth. That's not the experience to me. I want to be there for the whole thing. And they should be happy the fans were all there even before the game.
As I said, I can't speak intelligently to it. I don't live in New York. I've never lived there for a long period of time. But I don't buy it when you're talking about the finals, when you're talking about the World Series. Great. It's New York, it's LA, there's traffic, it's hectic. It's hard during the regular season sometimes for people to get out of work and get to the. This is the finals because they told you to be there 2 hours ahead of time because the president's going to be there, and suddenly they let's just pretend. Let me give it to you. Let me give it to you, New York. Yep, you're never there. You're even during the playoffs. You're not there on time. You're not there. That is what threw your team off that had won 13 in a row. It's also stupid. The I just couldn't believe they spent a whole segment on it. They didn't mention the Knicks. The booing. You're right. It's New York. That's where the term Bronx cheer comes from. That's always there. The is it God, I'm with you, Steve. I hate this. Is it the politics of the situation? Would they be saying the same thing if it was Obama? And that's what drives me friggin' nuts. And it shouldn't be part of our sports. It won't be part of our show either. But the whole thing and the whole discussion and assertion just bothered me. So they play tomorrow night. They're back in the Garden. They're in New York. Trump won't be there to distract. No excuses. Big difference still tomorrow night, Steve. I mean, we'll talk more about it tomorrow. We'll have a whole day to breathe this in. Boy, the Spurs even this thing up. I mean, then it's best 2 out of 3. Knicks go up 3-1. Okay, they're going back to San Antonio, but that's a much bigger hill to climb. But now they're in the Knicks' head. They can beat the Knicks, and the Knicks know that now, and they're in their own heads.
Yes, both game 4 and 5 are going to be huge. And by the way, vote for me to be president, because if I was ever president, I would be at every single sporting event out there. Not only would I be at game 3, I'd be at games 1 through 7, the Super Bowl. I would take in as many sporting events. It wouldn't be that, hey, as president, he's always out on the golf course. No, he's as president is going to be at all the top sporting events all the time.
That's the Eisenhower administration on steroids. A little history, kids. Back in the 50s, Eisenhower was elected president after World War II. Country is booming, and Eisenhower says, "You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stay a hell away from the White House and let the country just thrive." And he did. He played so much golf. And he would have, had it been the modern times, he would have been that version. I'm just going to every sporting event. What's next? I'm going to game 4. Of course I'm going to game 4. And what about this hockey thing? How about why can't I do that tonight? I'll do hockey tonight.
I'd be the first president to go to both Stanley Cup final and an NBA finals in the same, well, they don't play at the same time, but let's hit the playoffs. The first one who did it in the same day. I'm going to hit this one here in the morning, early afternoon, and then I'm going to catch the late one, take my plane, my helicopter, wherever it goes, and go catch it. And multiple games same day.
That's the great thing, is you've got the access to the greatest transportation system in the world, the Air Force One, Marine One, ground transport. You could do anything you want. You can time it out. You can go. He could have done Knicks last night, hockey tonight, Knicks again tomorrow night. Just keep it going. Why not? That would be, maybe that could bring us together, since Mamdani and Trump didn't. By the way, somebody stole your joke, your kiss cam joke. I forget who it was, but somebody made the joke. Is the kiss cam guy thinking about it? And I went, hey, that's Steve's. Don't take that away.
Hey, they're listening to us. I love it. They're stealing our material.
Let me do one other NBA note. It's not LeBron related. I know that's the law. I'm supposed to talk about LeBron every time we talk about the NBA, but all we have is circling back to OKC. When they got out, we started talking about what do they do? How do they build against the Spurs? Who can they get rid of to acquire, et cetera? One of the names that was thrown out there, Chet Holmgren. Is he the odd man out? Nobody knows exactly what OKC is going to do, but general manager Sam Presti is publicly supporting center Chet Holmgren wildly following his disappointing playoff exit. He's also hitting back, as a GM should, against the criticism of SGA. But Holmgren struggled mightily in that series to the Spurs. He himself admitted he could have attempted more shots. Presti said, quote, he doesn't need people questioning him or things on the internet to drive his improvement. He called Holmgren an underdog. He didn't come out and say he's not going anywhere, but he certainly gave him the is it a form of the kiss of death of support for him, or is it real? Like, no, he's our guy. He's going to stay.
I think it's real. They need to bring him back up. He disappeared so badly throughout this that I mean, every person I'm trading him off and moving on. And if they're not going to get Giannis, they need him. They need him to continue to develop to be the player that is going to be the second best player out there, second best defensively, second best in rebounds, second best in block shots, all of those other things, because that's still a pretty good player.
I am actually, now that we brought it up, I am surprised that Trump didn't, and they would have announced it by now, didn't get on Air Force One and head to Vegas. He's got hotels in Vegas. And why not go to the Stanley Cup game tonight? I'm surprised. I'm not saying I'm disappointed. I'm not making a political statement, but they're such glamorous American cities. They're so Trump, no matter what you think of them. Tonight, the 2026 Stanley Cup Finals continue. The Golden Knights won 5-4 game one. Hurricanes won 4-3 in overtime game two. The Knights took game three, 5-4 in double overtime. So technically, I think Steve's right. He said every game could go to overtime. Well, we got an overtime and a double overtime in 3 games. That's 3 overtimes. That's 3 games. Steve gets the point for that. Vegas defenseman Braden McNabb returned to play 2 nights after taking an 87-mile-an-hour slap shot to the nose, which he said required 30 stitches. These hockey guys, I swear.
And you think about all the other sports that I have to have a week off. I got to go on the IL, whatever it is, rest management. I can't play. He busts up his entire face and comes back, has that wired cage. My wife's like, how come all the hockey players don't wear that kind of face mask? It'd protect their face from the puck. No.
Is the answer visibility?
Yes, I believe it is.
Yeah, that's what they usually argue on these in any sport, right? Baseball went through it when they lowered the guard on the batting helmet, and they all got used to it. But in the beginning, it's like, I don't like this. I can't see. And this is totally misleading. A slap shot to the nose. You couldn't put 30 stitches in a nose. He took it to the face. He's got his stitches out to his cheek. Here's where we stand tonight. Teams leading the best of 7 Stanley Cup Final 2-1 have gone on to win 81% of the time in NHL history. This is the Knights series to lose. Statistically, 46-11 is the series record, including the past 4 instances, including the Knights in 2023. They already did this once. They have an 8-2 series record after going up 2-1. The Hurricanes have a 5-6 series record when they're trailing 1-2. If the Knights go up to 3-1, of course, they're in even better shape. The 25 combined goals scored through 3 games by the Canes and the Knights perfectly matches Steve's prediction of low-scoring games, as that is the most through the span of 8 Cup Finals since night. That's the only thing you got wrong, was in low-scoring. Overtime, I think it has been a rock fight in its own way. And it's not low-scoring. So what do we got, Steve? I mean, again, this is as huge, if not more huger. The Knights are at home. They can go up 3-1 and really, really turn the screws against Carolina tonight. We know Vegas will be hopping. What do you think?
They have that ability to happen, but this is a pick 'em game, just like I felt all of the games for the most part have been pick 'em. The thing I find interesting is the total's been 5.5. We're up to 6. They finally conceded and said, okay, Steve's thought of low scoring games may not be taking place. Let's move it to 6. So I was glad to see that as well. Knights, you got to maintain that home ice here, defend the fortress. They need to find a way. I'm curious to see if Carolina is going to go to a goalie change in this game. Anderson got pulled after the first 2 periods in the last game, 4-0, game over. Rest him up. We're going to need him. But the other goalie, who's had an outstanding season filling in for Anderson, played great. Yes, they ended up losing, but played great. So will they go to a goalie change here for game 4 or not. I expect another one goal game. I doesn't surprise me if this game goes to overtime again. And I'm still clinging to hope. At a certain point, doesn't the weird breaks, the opposing players scoring goals, the goals coming off the walls and ricocheting and hit a goalie skate and going, doesn't at a certain point these things stop and it does become a low scoring? So I'm guilty. I would be looking at the under in this game too. The game will be, 3-3 in the second period, be ripping up my ticket yet again.
But and that's the funny thing when you said, the game overall is a pick 'em. It's like watching these games is a pick 'em at any given time,
Mhm.
including when the Knights go up 4-0. Like, no, that ain't safe. Sure enough. I mean, these have just been great, great games. So they play tonight, ABC 5 o'clock, game 4. A couple other hockey notes. We told you the Detroit Red Wings captain Dylan Larkin had requested a trade, much to the chagrin of Steve. Larkin has spent his entire career in the Detroit area, played collegiately at Michigan, and then selected by Detroit with the 15th pick in the 2014 draft. He does have a full no trade clause as part of his contract. What did we say? He's got like 5 years left on his deal? Doesn't he have is that him?
He's got, yeah, I believe it was a 7 or 8 year deal, and he's got 5 years left. He's either played 2 or 3 years into that contract.
Let's see. The trade demand comes after he completed his 11th season in Detroit and his 10th straight without a playoff berth. The Red Wings now have the longest postseason drought since the Sabres got there. There it is. He has 5 years left on an 8-year, $69.6 million contract, annual salary cap hit of 8.7. He has now submitted a 3-team list of desired locations. These are the 3 teams that I will go to. The challenge for Red Wings general manager Steve Yzerman is working out a deal with any of the 3 teams, each of whom is projected to be in the bottom half of the NHL and having $15.2 million or less in cap space available entering next season. Well, of course, because he's picked 3 pretty damn good teams. He wants to go either to Vegas, who doesn't, Minnesota, and Florida, the perennial Stanley Cup team until they weren't. Those are his 3. And, I mean, good picks. He's not an idiot. No word on the feasibility of any of that.
Every player in the NHL wants to go to those 3 teams. There's no surprise there. I think the Vegas Golden Knights are 31st out of the 32 in cap space. So there's no cap space there at all to fit him in unless they're going to move another high price player. And why would you do that? You already have your team. Shoot, you're up 2-1 in the Stanley Cup. And what? We're going to go trade Dorofeyev or something like that to bring in Larkin. And I love Larkin. He's our captain. I think Detroit needs to strip him of the captain label going forward. You can't have your captain of your team demanding something like that and then putting 3 teams like that as the only teams I will entertain. He's going to be back in Detroit unless he lightens up a little bit. And how are the fans going to react to him now? Does he keep being the captain? I don't think he should. And how does Detroit repair this relationship with him? But I don't understand. Look, make the trade and then approach me, and then I can negotiate. Do I want a contract extension? Do I want to rework my contract? What kind of money is it going to take to buy my no trade clause out? When you narrow it like this, the GM's going to go, oh, okay, so you're not going anywhere because none of those teams are going to give us a package. And talk about screwing the Red Wings. Oh, okay, I'll give you a 5th-round draft pick and we'll just take them off your hands because I'm going to have to release these other players in order to make them fit under the cap. So it's not just the draft pick, it's the other players I have to lose. And Detroit isn't moving them for just to move them.
And just to confirm, the Golden Knights are 31st of the NHL's 32 teams with only $4.5 million of cap space available. It's always funny to talk about hiring coaches in the NHL because they all get fired, it seems like, so quickly. The Los Angeles Kings are hiring Peter Laviolette as their new head coach. 3-year deal. He didn't coach in the NHL last season after being fired by the Rangers. He has coached in just under 1,600 games in the top 10 of all time. Good move by the Kings?
I think there's way too much baggage coming with this guy and the claims from the players, etc., and all of that stuff. I was very surprised to see him get hired into this role.
What are these claims from the players that you're alluding to?
There was a lot of, and if I'm correct, it was like he had the players talk about who's the toughest players on the team or whatever at a meeting, and they listed it, and then he went in front of the whole team and pointed out that this is who this player says. A lot of stuff made them show videos from their phones. A lot of stuff that is uncharacteristic for a head coach. And maybe I got the wrong guy, but I thought when I was reading this, because I didn't know really who this guy was, but reading through it, he has a lot of claims out there, which are really, really hard to believe that a head coach would do this and then be able to get another head coaching job.
And he's been around, which that's not a crime as an NHL coach. He's coached for the Capitals, Flyers, Islanders, Hurricanes, and Predators. But to your point, although they don't say it overtly, he was considered for the Maple Leafs and Oilers jobs and not offered the gig. And there's some background of it's because of baggage that he wasn't considered after. So yeah, we'll work on that one. But
Okay, and if it's not him, I was reading on a person they were considering for. It's easy. If this guy coached the Rangers not last year, the year before for 1 year, that's the guy I'm talking about because it was it. If it was in that article, but I know the Oilers are talking to a coach as well.
Yes, the Edmonton Oilers, they say, are close to signing a deal with Mike Babcock to be their next head coach. He won a Stanley Cup in 2008 with your Detroit Red Wings. He is 12th all-time in career wins. Okay, good choice for the Oilers.
Yes, they got to do something. They got to Connor McDavid. Who do you want? Right. Whatever you need to stay here in Edmonton, this is what we are willing to do.
Right. I mean, I wonder to what extent did they even ask him or get him involved, or did they know, yeah, he'll be good with this? Because that is it. They've got to do something. Edmonton just can't get over that hump with Connor just sitting there going, what are we doing here? Because he started to get a little chirpy this last season.
And they have to win it all. I mean, they fire their coach that puts them in back-to-back, Knobloch, back-to-back Stanley Cup finals. They lose, but you know what? We didn't win it this year. You're gone.
That's it. Out of here.
Rob and Steve continue next, only on the radnetwork.com.
Longtime maggots will remember Greg from MAP, M-A-P, as in Maximum Athletic Performance, which guides you to better output through better ingredients, also known as nutrition. Greg has been on the Rad Show many times and will be again, as he simplifies nutrition and helps us all understand what actually works when it comes to fueling our bodies, almost all of which can be found at maptrition.com. Every product is formulated with clinical precision and backed by science and purpose, and maptrition.com has something for every fitness level, even those of us who barely have a fitness level. With nearly 20 years as a nutritionist and a specialization in sports nutrition, Greg works with athletes and everyday individuals to optimize performance, energy, and overall health through smarter fueling strategies, all of which starts at maptrition.com. At the very least, we should all be taking daily multivitamins, and Greg has his formulated for exactly what a man or woman's body needs. Protein is in, but maybe instead of getting yours from mac and cheese with extra protein, you get it from maptrition.com. And of course, all things workout, training, and exercise are available as well. From pre-workout to creatine and other muscle builders to recovery supplements and more, all at maptrition.com. From morning breakfast essentials to post-workout recovery and everything in between, maptrition.com's full range of supplements, proteins, and wellness products are built to power your journey from start to finish. Check out all the products and find what's right for you and order it shipped to you all at maptrition.com. That's maptrition.com. If you've never heard of microseal, let me tell you what it isn't. It is not a really small marine mammal. Get it? A micro seal? Oh, fine. Just ask AI. AI describes microseal this way with a bunch of AI words. Microseal is a premium, eco-friendly, and biodegradable fabric protection spray that penetrates deep into fibers to provide permanent stain, soil, and sun fade resistance for rugs, furniture, and delicate fabrics. It uses nanotechno blah 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 and blue 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 blue. What AI is trying to say is that microseal is non-toxic, non-allergenic, safe for pets and children, and although AI doesn't say this, it should, you need to contact longtime maggot Joel from AdvantageSteam.com right now to get him to apply microseal for you. You can even make appointments online at AdvantageSteam.com. We've had microseal for years at Williams Manor, and it treats a lot more than carpets. Microseal protects virtually all fibrous materials, including wool, cotton, silk, suede, leather, and synthetic fabrics. It protects upholstery, carpets, rugs, draperies, and clothing, including wedding dresses. And ladies, you're going to need what? 3 or 4 of those in your lifetime. And it protects against stains, moisture, and UV degradation without changing the texture. Also, if you're an interior designer, Joel has a special program just for you, and all you have to do is say the password, which is what? What? There's no password, I guess. Never mind. Whoever you are, contact Joel at AdvantageSteam.com. And if you're an interior designer, tell him, I guess. I don't know. That's AdvantageSteam.com, where you'll learn more about microseal and everything else that Joel offers. At AdvantageSteam.com, that's AdvantageSteam.com, AdvantageSteam.com.
The Rob and Steve Show on the Rad Network. Let's get back to it. Email Rob and Steve, RAS at theradnetwork.com.
Well, suddenly out of nowhere, we became not the only show anywhere talking about the Brendan Sorsby story yesterday. Finally, everybody woke up and went, oh, maybe we should talk about this. He's the Texas Tech quarterback who admitted he made thousands of bets while a college athlete, including on his own team, but not when he played. Then the NCAA launched an investigation. He checked himself into rehab, came back, said, I'm cured, or I went through rehab. And the NCAA said, too bad, you're not going to play. And he said, you want to bet, and went to court, and he won that. And he got, a 2-game suspension, and that's kind of where we left things yesterday. That's a very short, truncated version of how we got here. And boy, oh boy, has this thing blown up. First of all, the NCAA has appealed the court decision restoring the eligibility of Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby. The appeal is accelerated, which is necessary because one way or the other, Sorsby needs a final ruling by June 22nd, which is the deadline for applying for the NFL supplemental draft. I am trying to gather this story that just came across about an actual trial against the NCAA for February 8th. That's being brought by Sorsby. That's not the appeal that the NCAA is going for that says return this. What is Sorsby suing against the NCAA for, Steve? Do you know while I read through this here?
I thought from what I read in that the appeal date was set for February and that he would be allowed to play. In the article, it talks about how 4 of the judges that made this decision all attended Texas Tech because it's a court date that is set in Texas, like Lubbock, Texas, or somewhere like that, which again was no surprise to me.
Yeah, I'm a little confused. You're right. I've got all that. The four judges, all of whom are graduates of Texas Tech School of Law. But the opening sentence is, Texas court scheduled Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby's trial against the NCAA for February 8th. That's not an appeal filed by the NCAA. So I'll work through this. But the NCAA is appealing. We'll try to figure out if these are 2 different things.
Because my understanding now are the athletic directors, the conference has got to step in because they are taking steps now because it looks like he's going to be able to play this season.
And they're big steps if they go through with them. The reaction around college sports was almost unanimous. The idea of Sorsby playing this year after admitting to thousands of bets on sports, including 40 on his own team, they say, these coaches, ADs, they use words like stunned and disgusted that Sorsby might play. TCU coach Sonny Dykes A few of them went on record. He's one of them. He said, "We have officially lost our soul. How is anyone ever going to trust the outcome of a game again?" Florida AD Scott Strickland told ESPN he was stunned. There it is. Even recalling and comparing it to Major League Baseball's 1919 Black Sox scandal. That might be a little much, isn't it? It's one guy. It's not.
Yeah. No, it wasn't the whole team colluding. Correct.
I mean, it's bad. Don't get me wrong. It's bad. TCU athletic director Mike Buddy and Kansas State AD Gene Taylor both told ESPN there has been chatter in the league about schools not playing Texas Tech this year, which brings us to some schools have already said they won't, and then the potential boycott, and it goes beyond football. In a memo to staff, Georgia forbade its schools' teams from playing Texas Tech. As per the document that was obtained by ESPN, Big Ten officials are expected to discuss in the upcoming days a league-wide mandate to not schedule Texas Tech in any sports in the regular season. Nebraska AD Troy Denon told ESPN his school's teams are not allowed to schedule the Red Raiders. So the trickle-down effect of this throughout Texas Tech will be volleyball team, nope. Anything, nope. You're not playing against all of these teams. Prior to the revelation of Sorsby's bets, he had been widely considered to be a prospect for the 2027 NFL draft in a class expected to be rife with future stars, although everybody admits he's a passer in need of significant development. And now there's all these questions of, will anybody want him in the supplemental or anything else? But that all depends, too, on does he play and how much does he play and what does the Big Ten, et cetera, do about all the. I would assume, based on your comments yesterday, Steve, and then also the texting afterwards when I told you the NCAA had just launched their appeal, you like the way that these schools are reacting, don't you?
I'm glad to see. I've always believed in that policing yourself in the different sports. It's one of the reasons I wasn't totally for the DH is let a pitcher bat. If he's going to do something, let him go drill the pitcher when he comes to the plate. I'm curious to see because the Big 12 is going to step up and do something. But I like seeing that teams are saying, look, we're just not going to play. We're going to forfeit. We're going to take the whole sporting aspect out of it too. As you said, no more volleyball, no more golf, no more baseball, no more soccer. I mean, we will not compete with Texas Tech as long and if he's allowed to play. And if he does play the whole season, I'm curious to see if they will take it farther. Force their hands. Texas Tech's got to step up and say, okay, we're going to let them play, but we can only play 3 games this year. And we're going to go undefeated because we're going to get the win and all of these others. So that'll put us in the college playoffs. I don't think it will. They may go, look, we're 12-0. We deserve a shot. Well, you know what? You really were 3-0 against nobodies, and you took 9 forfeits. I don't think Texas Tech's going to go that route. I like the idea of the conferences, the schools forcing their hands, and let's see how it plays out. Take it out of the court system.
The thing, and maybe you can educate me here. Maybe I'm being completely naive. The thing that I to this moment really like about the coaches and the ADs and the schools basically rising up and saying not on our watch or whatever is it does seem to be, God forbid, a little altruistic. Like they actually care, like they mean it. Because I'm trying, all the time all the time these days, you have to look at, well, what's their angle? What are they trying to get away? Well, it's not like there's a benefit to them to not play Texas Tech. Again, through all sports, it seems like these ADs and these coaches are saying we can't and won't have this. And it's a stunning development in this day and age to go, wow, that's a principled stance and nothing else.
Yeah, there's normally a lot of gray area. You're putting your toe right up to the line. This is perceived by all of these schools, the ADs, the coaches, and myself as well, and sportsmen. This crossed the line. This isn't a gray area issue anymore that you could say, we're getting in trouble because back in the days before we had cell phones, this kid, he didn't have much money and he came over to the coach's house and was fed a meal, or he was allowed to use the phone in the athletic department's in the office so that he could call his parents because he didn't have the money and they didn't have the money for a collect call or anything like that. Those are gray areas that you're like, really, we're going to be that strict on these things? But they were. This one, though, to me is not a gray area. It's crossed the line. And I'm curious. I want to see everyone step up and take this stance because I want to see if Texas Tech will back down and say, you know what? I know we have this, but we are no longer, as a university, going to stand behind him in this situation. We will continue to support him in his fight against his disability, in his addiction with gambling, but we feel it is best for our program to not support him in playing football for us this next season or any season in the future.
And think of the can of worms that these other coaches and ADs are opening and cornering Texas Tech by refusing to schedule any sports. So, I mean, if Texas Tech doesn't do what you suggested, they basically are going to say this guy is more important than all of our programs. Not only is that going to lead to a ton of resentment and probably transfers and who knows what else people can do. I don't know all the ins and outs of that. But you know what else it's going to lead to, unfortunately, are lawsuits. If they go down that route, there's going to be a different road towards the courts of people in other sports who are claiming, I don't know what, I don't have the legal term in my head, but they're favoriting this guy over all of our system. I'm being punished. I'm not being able to play because this guy who clearly broke all the rules, that it's going to lead there. I mean, they really have put Texas Tech in a box here.
And do you open up a portal now for all the Texas Tech players, even though the portal's closed, to now transfer elsewhere? Because if I'm not going to be able to play this season, you're now disrupting everything in my livelihood in order to make my NIL money and or have success with a sports program, possibly win a championship. You've taken all that away from me as well.
And the judge, in his ruling that is very unpopular, he cited the damage to Sorsby by not letting him play because of his NIL money. Well, if he's playing and it's costing other players NIL money or the opportunity for it, they just go into court and say, hey, we need consistency from the court, whether it's the same judge or not. If it's hurting him, now he's hurting us. We need some type of relief. Can you imagine it goes as far as the courts order the NCAA to open the transfer portal I mean, this is so stupid. This becomes so distractionary if they make the wrong moves on this.
It is, but I've suddenly become very interested in this case to see how and where this is going to go. Where before I was like, this is what's going on and kept up with it because I was interested to see. But today it has just opened up on all fronts. And really, where is this going to go? So it's become one of my interests right now.
Rob and Steve continue next, only on the radnetwork.com.
Longtime advertiser Sue Berry, that's Berry with an A, is more important now than ever. Sue and her team have been serving Northern Nevada and the outlying areas for 30 years, and her experience in both commercial and residential lending is vital as every day we're bombarded with news of interest rates, the market, the economy, and a bunch of other stuff that Sue can actually make sense of while everyone else's eyes glaze over. Now remember, it's Sue Berry with an A, B-A-R-R-Y, SueBerry.com. Most people think berry is spelled like a fruit or Halle Berry, but no, it's Sue Berry with an A, like soul singer Barry White's first name.
I've heard people say,
stop that. Sue is a broker versus a retail lender, which means she can shop over 150 different lenders to get you the very best rate possible. And on average, someone who uses a broker like Sue saves over $10,000 per loan, which includes refinancing. And if you have a rate at 6.5% or higher, call Sue for a free quote now on a refinance. Sue Berry and her incredible team from Barrett Financial can be found at SueBerry.com. That's Berry with an A. I've been working with Sue and recommending her to you for years. All you need to do is call her now so she can get you pre-approved. Just call your residential and commercial lending expert, Sue Berry, at 775-843-9983. Oh, Rob, stop. You're going too fast. What was the number again? 775-843-9983. Or just head to SueBerry.com. The number's right there. Berry is B-A-R-R-Y. Sue Berry with an A.com. That's Sue Berry, B-A-R-R-Y.com. SueBerry.com.
Disclaimer, Sue Berry, NMLS number 366040, Barrett Financial Group, LLC, NMLS number 181106, Nevada 509, Equal Housing Act.
Longtime maggots will remember Greg from MAP, M-A-P, as in Maximum Athletic Performance, which guides you to better output through better ingredients, also known as nutrition. Greg has been on the Rad Show many times and will be again, as he simplifies nutrition and helps us all understand what actually works when it comes to fueling our bodies, almost all of which can be found at maptrition.com. Every product is formulated with clinical precision and backed by science and purpose, and maptrition.com has something for every fitness level, even those of us who barely have a fitness level. With nearly 20 years as a nutritionist and a specialization in sports nutrition, Greg works with athletes and everyday individuals to optimize performance, energy, and overall health through smarter fueling strategies, all of which starts at maptrition.com. At the very least, we should all be taking daily multivitamins, and Greg has his formulated for exactly what a man or woman's body needs. Protein is in, but maybe instead of getting yours from mac and cheese with extra protein, you get it from maptrition.com. And of course, all things workout, training, and exercise are available as well. From pre-workout to creatine and other muscle builders to recovery supplements and more, all at maptrition.com. From morning breakfast essentials to post-workout recovery and everything in between, maptrition.com's full range of supplements, proteins, and wellness products are built to power your journey from start to finish. Check out all the products and find what's right for you and order it shipped to you all at maptrition.com. That's maptrition.com.
For them, every day is a must-win. Huh? What does that even mean? Back to Rob and Steve. Email the show at res@theradnetwork.com.
All right, Steve. So, full disclosure, I'm running on about 2 hours sleep, and it's all sports' fault. I don't have the exact timeline, but the way the night went last night, the basketball game. I mean, it went. That was it 11.9 seconds when the Knicks hit a three, and it still wasn't over. So it was right down. Then they got down to the. Okay, fine, all right. Spurs are going to win this one. Cool. And my plan was, that's it. It's time to go to bed because I get up between 3 and 4 in the morning to do a morning show and then our show. But I made the mistake of hitting the previous button and going to the A's game. The A's, they had been winning, and then their glorious pitching staff let the lead get away, and the game went on and on and on. And I don't know what time it ended locally, but it was late. I couldn't wind down because I was irritated. So the Milwaukee Brewers outlasted the A's 15-14 in an absurd 12 innings last night. By the way, they were playing in Las Vegas. This was previously scheduled. They're doing 6 games in Vegas this week ahead of the move. It's kind of like they're not even playing in the state. It's just like hey, here we are in Vegas. I didn't know that, or we would have talked about it a little bit yesterday. I mean, where were they playing? They were playing at the Las Vegas ballpark. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, where the Aviators play, the AAA team.
Because at first they're talking about it, and I'm going, well, that doesn't look like Sutter Health Park where the A's play in Sacramento, but it sure does look like a minor league park. And then it all kind of pieced together. I went, oh, okay. And they showed some clips. I guess they did like an unofficial opening day or something, and Raleigh Fingers was there. I don't know. The game was just dopey. Tyler Soderstrom and Nick Kurtz each homered twice for the A's as they play these 6 games in Vegas, and in the end, the Brewers. By the way, the whole game featured 11 homers between the two teams. The team totaled 34 hits, 14 pitchers combined, including former Nick Kunal or whatever his name is. I saw him come in for a couple innings. Gave up a bomb, but otherwise pitched well. The 14 pitchers combined to throw 444 pitches last night. Fourth game in Major League history with at least 29 runs and 11 homers. This might explain why it went so late and so long. To me, Steve, this reinforces what we were talking about with the A's and that pitching staff. And the bullpen is so unreliably bad for the A's. Oh.
Yeah, I was waiting for the stat of how many times has a team hit 7 home runs in a game and still lost that game, because that's got to be up there. And as you said, the A's bullpen gave up 10 runs. I mean, they'd only given up 5 runs through the first 6 innings, and it had to be exciting. A lot of hits, a lot of runs scored, but Harris blew a save. Barlow came in, couldn't get anybody out. Mark Leiter, who's been really good as of late with the A's in that bullpen, 1/3 of an inning, 2 walks and a hit. He implodes at times. And Jeffrey Springs, I know, another 2 home runs, 5 innings pitched, 8 hits, 2 walks, 10 base runners in 5 innings. Rob, can I throw in the towel on him yet?
Yeah, because 99 pitches in 5 innings for that kind of production. I mean, he's a 5th starter at best, and he's proven that lately. So I will grant you had him. You had the beat on him, as they say. The A's used 7 pitchers. I guess the only good news there is they might get some innings tonight out of Ginn before we get to that. But it wasn't fun. It was not fun as an A's fan. It was fun as a Brewer fan. It was not fun. Hold on. Did I have this highlighted here? Yeah, because let's see. The A's gave up. I mean, this was so silly as the game went on, and this is where it went so nuts. So the A's gave up 2 to Milwaukee in the top of the 9th. That's what sent it to extra innings. Both teams scored 4 in the 10th, and then that's how they got to the 12th inning where the Brewers scored and the A's couldn't answer. It was quite a show. Let's talk about the A's just for a second then. They are 4 games under 500, 3.5 back of the Mariners. They've lost 6 of their last 10. Today, they got to face Robert Gasser, and the A's are throwing JT Ginn, and they need some innings from JT Ginn.
They really do, and I'm curious to see how he responds. He's been one of the few bright spots in that rotation. A little bit of an adjustment. The total yesterday, I believe, was 10. Today, after this game last night, it's up to 13 with the over favored. So they're taking that ballpark into effect. Colorado is only sitting at 12.5 with their total. So it's going to take 14 runs to cash it ticket on the over, but Ginn has been good. You look at him this season, he's been the one of the few bright spots. His ERA sitting around 2.5. His whip is a little over 1. He is 1-1 in his last 3 starts with an ERA slightly under 2. Go to Gasser. Gasser has not been good. This guy's 0-2, ERA close to 5. He just has not been very good. He's not part of the rotation. He's just a guy filling in right now. And for the Brewers that hurt, Kyle Harrison, all 11 starts, I think he's given up 2 or fewer runs. That didn't happen last night. Welcome to Las Vegas, as he gave up 8 runs and 2 1/3 to those A's to go along with 3 home runs. I expect another big scoring game in the sense, at least because Gasser isn't very good. But these are the spots you want to see JT Ginn. If you're going to step up when you go into tough ballparks like into Colorado, etc., do you have the stuff to shut down the team and keep it still a low-scoring game? Or does the ballpark play that factor and he's going to end up going 5 innings, give up 5 runs, which doesn't make him a bad pitcher. It just makes him more human. But if he's able to come out with a big start tonight and get a win and have, 5-6 innings with 3 or less runs, it'll be a good outing for him.
It will be, and especially because of the park he's throwing in. Because I mean, you really want like 7 innings out of Ginn if you can get it. But it will be tough. And the A's, of their 6 relievers last night, only one of them threw less than 20 pitches. And apparently there's some rule against throwing guys back to back when they've thrown. I mean, this whole pitch count thing is driving me nuts. It's not related to this game, but over the weekend, somebody came in, they threw about 15 or 20 pitches in relief, and the announcer's like, "Yeah, well, he won't be available tomorrow." What? Why not?
As I roll back to the old days, Goose Gossage, he's the closer, and he'd have like 140 innings thrown in a season.
I know. That's the A's and the Brewers tonight. How about the Brewers? They are on a 4-game winning streak, 7 of 10, 5.5 over the Cardinals. We were talking yesterday when we were going over the divisions. You still see a little light maybe for the Pirates to sneak in to the wild card thing. Some point here soon, we'll have to go over where we are as we get to the midpoint of the season, the wild card standings and such. But are the Brewers, are they in pull away mode yet, or because you now wait a minute, let me see if we've doubled back on this. You've been saying you don't think the Cardinals are the long haul team, but they're still there, 5.5 back, and they've won 4 in a row. So where are you on the Cardinals? Can they challenge the Brewers, et cetera, in the Central?
I just don't think they can. I don't think they have the pitching to keep it up. I give them credit. They have some really good young ball players that have helped them out. They brought up Witherholt. He's their second baseman. He's had a really good season. Jordan Walker is their right fielder. This guy was a lot of potential, and sometimes it just takes a player longer to finally develop. They stuck with him through his first 3 years, a lot more strikeouts than power than what they were hoping for. Not a very good defensive outfielder either, but he's finally turned it around. He's hitting for power. He's having a really nice season. And Alec Burleson, another one of their big gun productive middle of the lineup guys who was very slow in development. He's having a really good season as well. They're scoring runs. I don't think their pitching's there, and that's going to be the downfall. I think they're a third place team, really a fourth place team, because I still expect the Cubs to get there. Too much talent on that roster. If they can't get there, Craig Counsell deserves to be fired. And I like what the Pirates have done with the staff and the fact they're scoring runs. Nobody saw that happening, and they're scoring runs. They're making it happen. It was kind of like Cleveland last year, where you're like, Cleveland's pitching, no hitting. You think the same thing this year with the Pirates. The Pirates are pitching, no hitting, yet they're third in Major League Baseball in runs scored, which always gives them a chance to win games.
If you jump back to the American League West, the A's, who were in first place until the Mariners showed up and swept them, they are now down to third place, a full game and a half out from the Rangers for second, and only a game ahead of the team that you, Steve, keep saying you're keeping your eye on there. We know the Mariners are in first. Those Astros are only 4.5 back of first place, a game behind the A's. The Astros had a 5-4 victory over the Angels last night. They've won. They've split the last 10. They're 5-5, but you still see something in the Astros that everybody should be paying attention to, and it's feeling more and more like and I think I asked you this yesterday. You're viewing the West as it's Mariners or Astros, and that's all that's coming out of the West.
Yeah, I'm pretty much getting there. Houston is getting healthy. They had so many injuries, and they've always been able to hit this year. I mean, the pitching has been awful. Hunter Brown going down really hurt him. Spencer Arrighetti has been a bright spot in it, but this team's seventh in runs scored, which means they're scoring. And now, Diaz, their catcher, was reading a thing today. He is starting his rehab. They're hoping to have him back maybe by the end of next week. Pena is back at shortstop for him. They got a couple of other guys that are coming back. But if you look at that box score, Josh Hader, he is back. They did not throw him immediately into the closer position. They gave him 1 inning, no hits, no walks, 3 Ks. That's the Josh Hader we all fear. And Abreu, 1 inning, he got the save. The Astros scored in the 9th to tie it, the 10th to win it. They have enough hitting to compete. Hunter Brown is supposed to be back within the next couple of weeks. He has started his rehab. So if they can, and Christian Javier, he's beginning his. They're expecting him to be back by the end of this month. So if they bring back Javier, Hunter Brown, Josh Hader is back, Pena's back at catcher. Diaz is back at catcher. This team's going to get healthy, and it's going to become a really good team again. So Seattle better use right now to separate themselves from all the other teams in that division and hopefully build up a big enough lead.
And with the Astros playing the Angels, they're beating up on each other. Each game counts for two, as they say. The Angels are now 10 back, and they've lost 7-10. And today, it's the test Rob's pronunciation abilities pitching match. The Astros are throwing Kai Wei Tang, I hope, against the Angels' Walbert Urena.
Yeah, Walbert Urena is one of those raw talents. This guy has a really live arm. He's done okay so far. He's 3-3, but live arm. He just has moments when he can't throw strikes. And hopefully, this is that experience. And this is where I go with the A's. Look, bring the young arm up. It's not going to get worse. Allow him to learn the strike zone, develop at that major league level, so that in a year or so, you're going to have a quality arm. Tang for the Astros. He's an all right pitcher. He's new to him this year, a foreign pitcher, 2-3 on the season. He's 1-1 in his last 3 outings. ERA right around 4. His whip is 1.3, so he's average at best. So Astros continue to get better. But the Angels, not much there. I mean, there's Trout. He's hitting 230, 240. No reason to pitch to anybody else, as I've said many times. And if you watch them, the Angels just aren't very good. But Urena has that live arm. He's a guy who can surprise you.
Would the Angels ever, at this point, just trade Trout and put him out of his misery?
With the contract? Who's gonna? What are you gonna trade him? Your top prospect and make the Angels pick up half of the salary to get Mike Trout? I mean, what are you giving up for him? They can't. It's like that business that makes no money. Look, I will give you the business for free. You don't even have, just take his salary off our hands, and no one in baseball will be able to doing it. So in order to take back some of that salary, and that's one of the things that always gets me is you read these articles and, oh, here's a proposed trade. The Angels could say anyone who wants him, you get the contract for. And I'm curious to see where they go come the trade deadline, because the Angels are going to put him out there as trade. And then if somebody claims him, will they pull it back, or will they allow the team just to take the contract? So I'm willing to bet you that Mike Trout come trade deadline, no one will even put in a claim for him, that they can have him for free, because if they do, the Angels don't pick up any of that contract and he goes to your team and you get him for nothing, but you absorb the contract.
It was really more of a personal question because I like Mike Trout and I hate seeing him just wither. And he's on the second half of his career, and it's like, can we put him on a winner? I mean, can't the Yankees afford anything? Come on.
I agree with you on everything. Where I don't feel sorry for him is he chose and signed this contract. He was a free agent, and going into free agency where he could have gone anywhere he wanted, he chose to stay, sign that long-term contract because he got paid. Anything, and if he never makes the playoffs or never does anything the rest of his career, that's on him. I can't feel sorry for. I like him. I love the game when he is healthy and able to perform, which we haven't seen a whole lot the last several years. And I wish him all the success, but he's not the player he was, and that contract makes him really, to me, untouchable.
Well, and you already mentioned the third aspect from a fan standpoint is he's not really Mike Trout right now because no one will throw to him. We don't even get to see that excitement. And so let's stay in the American League. We jump to the East and the Central simultaneously. We now have a statistical tie for first place in the American League East. The Yankees have played 2 more games than the Rays. They've won 1 and lost 1. So statistically, that's your first place tie. Yankees and Rays are now in first place in the East, and the Howardians remain in first place in the Central by a game and a half over the White Sox. So we've got a first-on-first matchup going on in Cleveland. Cody Bellinger hit a 2-run single with the bases loaded in the 10th. The Yankees defeated the Howardians last night 7-5. That Steve, are we going to at some point in the next week or so be talking about the first place Chicago White Sox, who are only a game and a half back now?
I gotta hope we're not. Will Venable has done a wonderful job with that. But that Yankees Guardians game last night, I mean, a great game. Yankees got to find production from elsewhere. Trent Grisham stepped up, got a couple of hits. It wasn't just the Ben Rice show. And Goldschmidt suddenly finding some power. Hit his 8th home run with a homer in the first inning yesterday. Bellinger's still having a good year. But you hit that bottom part, there's just not a lot there. So the Yankees are winning by pitching. And they went up against the Guardians ace. Gavin Williams yesterday, I think it was 4-0 in his last 4 starts. They're found a way to beat the Guardians there. They're going to have to continue to do that. This Guardians team, though, to me, just keeps getting better and better. It's why I don't believe the White Sox are going to overtake them. I love the youth. I love what they're doing. Jose Ramirez, another hit last night. And again, a lighter hitting team. Patrick Bailey, for you Giants fans, even had 2 hits. Couldn't get 2 hits in a game for the Giants, but he had 2 hits last night for the Guardians. And I don't know if you remember Rocchio. This is the guy who's been with the Indians the last couple of years. Really good defensive shortstop, but can't hit anything. I mean, you look at him, and he's a Mendoza line hitter. He's having a nice season. He's hitting 284 so far. So the Guardians are getting some production from some of these other people. That's why I think they're going to continue to pull away with that Central Division.
By the way, to the White Sox, who are 3 games over 500 and a game and a half out of the Guardians, I guess we'll find out a lot over the next 9 games. They host the Braves, they host the Dodgers, and they go to the Yankees. So check back with us in 10 days. And let's see how.
Oh man, get me to 4-5, and I would say I'll take that right now. We don't have to play any of the games. What you don't want to see with a team this young, inexperienced, is that 1-8, 0-9 stretch, because that could be devastating to their season.
Let's before we jump back to the Yankees and Cleveland, let's see here. The White Sox tonight, they're at home. Atlanta's throwing Grant Holmes against Brandon Eisert. And look at it the other way too, Steve. What if the White Sox go 6-3 over those 9? We are going to be talking about something. Braves, Dodgers, Yankees. Woohoo!
Yeah, and I think the front office would be ecstatic, but it would really make them refocus, because I've heard that the White Sox still might be sellers come the trade deadline, even though they're having such a nice season. If you could move someone like the Red Sox with Aroldis Chapman, look, he's not going to help you. You're not going to go anywhere, and just continue that building for the future and not looking at, hey, we want to be buyers and sacrifice ours. But if they go out and have a great stance with those teams, now that you got to reshift it going, yeah, we've been enjoying a great season, but do we have a chance to compete, and do we give up some of our future in that effort to compete? They're bringing up Montgomery, one of the top prospects they have. He's a center fielder for the White Sox for the season. He's going to make his major league debut here, which is interesting. And I don't know if you know this, but Peters, the center fielder who's been playing with the White Sox, used to be with the Savannah Bananas, and everything's coming out with the Savannah Bananas nowadays. But this is a guy who played with them. He was known as a defensive specialist, and he caught the eye of the White Sox, and the White Sox went out and signed him, and he's played his way up to where he has been starting in center field playing. But Montgomery is one of the top prospects in baseball coming up, and hopefully he has a great run here. Iser, this is going to be more of an opener here. Grant Holmes for the Braves, though, has been struggling. He's 1-1 in his last 3 outings, but he's given up 5 homers in his last 15 innings pitched. ERA north of 4 and a whip almost at 1.5. So if the White Sox got a shot, this is one of those. Holmes has not been that good of a pitcher. He's not a front end of the rotation guy. He's just a filler, and maybe the White Sox can make something happen tonight.
If the White Sox play these 9 games against the Braves, Dodgers, and Yankees, 5-4 better, why would they still be? They're already right now today. They're a wild card team. It's them and either the Yankees or the Rays. Why wouldn't they say, let's at least? I'm not saying they need to be buyers, because I hear what you're saying. Don't give up the future. But why wouldn't you play? You're a non-seller. You're not really a buyer. Play it out and see if you can get to the postseason, get a little bit of experience, and give your fans some hope.
I think it's the difference in philosophies of upper management and ownership. on how much they fully want to commit. The Brewers have been flirting with it forever, and all we do is see them continue to sell the team off. That tells you something about their ownership commitment to winning. The Giants, bad team. The Mets, bad team, but they keep trying to buy. It wouldn't shock me if the Giants went out at the break and said, look, we're still going to be buyers because we understand we want to compete for championships. And even though we know this is a lost season, we're going to go pick up this player that we feel will help us longer term for next year and maybe the year after. I love that as fans, but I get so discouraged when we have the open wallet. We have the owner who wants, look, win at all costs, go get it done. And then you still stink like the Giants and the Mets do. That's where the frustration comes in. But I would much rather have an owner that gives you the ability to win, and it's your upper management that cannot make that happen.
You mentioned the Savannah Bananas, who are selling out extraordinary numbers as they travel the country. So last year, as my wife was succumbing to her congestive heart failure, she was doing a lot of internet surfing and stuff. She had gotten into baseball, and she's the one that made me aware. And at first, I'm like, without any research, this is a gimmick. This isn't even the Harlem Globetrotters. And then it's like, wow, these guys are impressive. I mean, I wanted to go. I wanted to take her. We just couldn't work it out because I can't believe they haven't all been signed at this point. The things that some of these guys are doing with the ball and the field and
it's really impressive though. I've been watching this team for quite a while because they were an independent team, played in the independent league, couldn't get a whole lot of attention. And a wonderful marketing person down there started coming up with, hey, look, we're going to do these gimmicks and we're going to bring fans out there. You know, like one of them was the ball is always in play. So if it hits, it goes in the stands and a fan catches it, the batter's out. And if it's like a ground rule double, well, the ball's still in play. You got to throw the ball back. So they started doing these things and it became very popular. And they've just built from it from there. My nephew played 4 years of college ball. He has a couple of friends who play on this, and he was telling me the story, and I haven't ever seen the guy, but there's a guy who bats on stilts.
Yes.
And it was one of those that came up. And the story is this guy had always been on stilts forever, and the Bananas were looking for something. So he told them that he can actually hit while on stilts. He had never done it. He had never swung a bat. They called him in for a tryout, and he went, and they threw him a pitch, and he hit it. And they said, cool, let's sign him up. Another act. They brought him in. Thankfully, he hit the ball because having no experience doing it and trying to do it, you know, for a contract, but he did it, and it's just exploded from there. They're always looking for these gimmicks. It keeps the fans entertained throughout the entirety, and it's great to see a player be able to move from that onto the major leagues and be successful at the major league level.
Yeah, and they're all over social media. They're all over YouTube. Check them out if you haven't. Don't take the initial Rob attitude of, oh, that's just stupid. They are really fun and entertaining to watch, even if you just do it on social media. If we go all the way back to the battle of the first place teams, Yankees and Howardians today, Garrett Cole, it will make his fourth start since returning from Tommy John surgery. The Howardians are throwing Slade Ciccone for Cleveland.
Yeah, and this to me is a little bit of a pitching matchup. The Yankees are only a slight favorite in this game. I'm curious to see how Garrett Cole performs tonight because last outing was his third outing, and normally in that 3 and 4 starts when you're coming off of this, that's where your tired or dead arm comes into play. He did not have the best outing during that time, but Ciccone to me is that marginal pitcher. He's 3 and 5 ERA at about 5. His whip's over 1.4. He's a guy who just puts in innings for them. He's not really a top end pitcher. And if Garrett Cole has the tired arm, then this is going to be a game. But I'm expecting Garrett Cole to throw a nice game here. I'm not saying go out and bet him because I do have that dead arm issue. But the Yankees, they need another win. They need to carry this team by their pitching, and they got a pitching matchup here that's favorable to them.
You mentioned the Giants a few times and how disappointing they are and where they're headed, and we couldn't figure out for a while what they're doing with Bryce Eldridge, calling him up and just having him sit. Now everybody's talking about the Giants' number 6 prospect, a guy named Bo Davidson. Just what we need, another Bo. He's 23, 6'1", 225 pounds, described as an athletic outfielder who's been on an offensive tear, hitting a home run in 4 consecutive games. He's in the Double-A division, but if he keeps this play up, it's not even a secret. People are saying out loud that he will be making his cross-country trip to San Francisco soon. Good. That's the A's. The A's and Giants are in similar situations for different reasons and in different positions. The A's need to the A's are a mess pitching wise, and I stand by what I said and Steve repeated. Bring them all up. Just bring up your pitchers, let them go, and figure this out because you got some hell of some hitters. You got a great lineup that when they click, you've got the offense. You've got no pitching other than Ginn and Gage Jump, and we'll see about the rest of them. Let them throw the Giants. Eldridge should have been starting every day, all the time. And great, bring this Davidson guy up. Let's see what because the Giants they have to retool, if not reboot, when they're done with this disaster.
And I'm with you. The thing that's surprising though is the Giants have 2 hitters. You know, we already know Luis Ariz is hitting 320. 2 hitters in the top in batting average. You got Lee, who's hitting 333. I like Casey Schmidt. I'm not sure I like him as a left fielder. So bringing up another outfielder and maybe he can go and we can find a way to get Schmidt some at bats because I think Casey Schmidt's been the most consistent player on this team the whole season. And it's great to see him continue to run out there. So, but again, bring up the kids. You're not going anywhere. Find out what you have. Let them learn at that Eldridge. And I said I wasn't going to do it. 2 for 5 yesterday. Another RBI, another run scored. It's hitting 287 with a 364 on base percentage. He's getting up to 100 at bats now, which is where you can then finally start saying, hey, look, does he belong? Is he overpowered, overmatched? But the Giants gave him like 20 at bats and said, oh, no, he's overmatched right now. We're just not going to play him. Bad organization, bad decision. Bring the kids up and let's see what they can do.
When your entire mission statement at this point of the year is don't fall in last place to the Rockies again, it is time to just bring everybody up. So the Giants will host Washington again. The Rockies, by the way, are hosting Chicago. Games that matter. That National League West, we talked yesterday, Steve, about the Padres who have lost 7 of their last 10. They are tied with the Diamondbacks, 7.5 behind the Dodgers. You said yesterday, yeah, the Dodgers are pulling away. All indications are. The Padres are hosting Cincinnati tonight, who's throwing Chase Burns against Giolito, who, if I remember right, you kind of like this Giolito guy.
Giolito's an innings eater. He was successful with the White Sox. He had a good year with the Red Sox when he was there. He has some injuries here and there, which has derailed his career a little bit. But he is a solid, you know, if you could put him in a solid 3 or 4, kind of like a Nick Pivetta, will give you quality starts, more quality starts than bad starts, and can give you some innings. Padres had a nice win last night, scoring late, 2 in the 7th, 3 in the 8th to win this game 6-2. Walker Buehler, oh man, he's not the same pitcher. He's learning how to pitch at the major league level, which is tough because he was such a dominating pitcher early in his career before the injuries, and now he just doesn't have that stuff. Now I want to say he's in the low 90s, so he has to learn how to depend on those other pitches. It's a work in progress. He put 10 runners on base in 4 2/3, but only gave up 1 run. So maybe he's figuring it out a little bit on how to, even when he gets in trouble, pitch his way out. But the Reds tonight, Chase Burns has been outstanding. He is a really good young pitcher. He got hit a little bit in his last start, if I remember right, but he's 7-1. He's been one of the bright spots for the Reds team. Their ace, Hunter Green, has been down the whole season. He is starting to throw, so they're hoping to have him back here in a little bit. But 7-1, his ERA is just over 2. His whip is under 1, and he's been consistent. Last 3 starts, he's thrown 17 1/3. He's 2-0. His whip is 0.81. He is a quality, good young arm that every team wants. It's just, will the Reds score enough? But they're playing the Padres, who can't hit the ball and are dead last, or were dead last in runs scored so far in the season. So he could have another nice outing.
And with both Arizona and the Padres, 7.5 back of the Dodgers, they wouldn't necessarily say it out loud. They might be saying it in the front office. At this point, and we have documented the putrid offensive problems for the Padres. Are both the Diamondbacks and the Padres in a position where they should be thinking, we're playing for the wild card and we're in position to fight for a wild card, and just because, again, you want to try as hard as you can, you're going to try to catch the Dodgers, but what you're really trying to do is get in as the, because I don't know the two of them, that both of them are going to get in unless both of them go on huge runs in the second half.
Realistically, they should have been saying that in spring training. I mean, I don't think anybody gave them the shot to beat the Dodgers and win that division. If they did, wonderful, fantastic. But the realistic goal for both of those teams, to me, really was, look, we're going to do everything we can to beat the Dodgers. It's probably not going to happen. We don't have the payroll. We don't have the talent. So we need to compete for that wild card. All you have to do is get into the playoffs. Once you're in, things can happen. So let's have the best season we can. But we really, really are fighting for that wild card spot.
By the way, I wanted to mention that Yankees Hawardians game is at 3:40 p.m. on the West. It's on TBS, also on Prime, if you're looking for something to watch. Arizona's at Miami, but the game, I would say, is also at 3:40 p.m. our time. The Dodgers are at Pittsburgh. The Dodgers are throwing Eric Lauer, and the Pirates have I don't know, is he struggling yet? What is he? Paul Skeens is going for Pittsburgh.
I hate to say it, but I think Paul Skeens has been struggling all season long. If you remember, even on opening day, that's where it raised some red flags for me. But then he pitched really good. But he's down to 6-5. He's 0-2 in his last 3 outings as far as records. But I don't think he's pitched good in his last 4 outings, or 3 of his last 4 outings. His last 3 starts, his ERA is almost 5. His WHIP is 1.67. So he's not getting a lot of batters out, and he's facing the Dodgers. Best offense in baseball, best team in baseball. Maybe right with the Braves. I'd give it to the Dodgers right now. But Eric Lauer, he's good, but he hasn't been, great in his last 3 outings. Last 3 outings, his ERA is 3.6. He's 1-1, a WHIP of 1.13. But he's given up 3 homers in 15 innings, so he is really hittable. So maybe Paul Skeens, if he can put it together, can do a little bit of damage here. Pirates are still a slight favorite in this game, and that is solely because Eric Lauer is not a great pitcher, been too inconsistent throughout his career.
It's an interesting start for Skeens, because under normal circumstances, if he goes out and the Dodgers tag him for 5 or 6 and 5 runs, everybody goes, well, it's the Dodgers. Well, in this situation, it's not so easy to slough off, because people are going to be like, whoa, did he just lose his 4th of his last 5th decisions kind of thing? And on the other side, what if he goes out and he shuts out the Dodgers? What if he goes 6 or 7 and he gives up a couple hits against the best? Then do we all get to say, okay, good. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers, calm down. Relax, whatever the hell he said, stupidly.
Right. It's the Paul Skeens we expected. Going into the season, I think most people said Tariq Skubal's the best pitcher in baseball, and Paul Skeens is number 2. You could argue number 3 with, a lot of hype on Nolan McLean with the Mets. I'll tell you, I was high on Mizorowski, as I've been the whole season long. I love this kid. But there's a lot of other pitchers that fall into that role. But I think everyone was pretty much consensus as Skubal Skeens 1 and 2.
Yeah. So yeah, it'll be an interesting game again. 3:40 Pacific time, Dodgers and Pirates.
Rob and Steve continue next, only on the radnetwork.com.
If you've never heard of microseal, let me tell you what it isn't. It is not a really small marine mammal. Get it? A microseal? Oh, fine. Just ask AI. AI describes MicroSeal this way with a bunch of AI words. MicroSeal is a premium, eco-friendly, and biodegradable fabric protection spray that penetrates deep into fibers to provide permanent stain, soil, and sun fade resistance for rugs, furniture, and delicate fabrics. It uses nanotechno blah 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 and blue 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 blue. What AI is trying to say is that MicroSeal is non-toxic, non-allergenic, safe for pets and children, and although AI doesn't say this, it should, you need to contact a longtime maggot Joel from AdvantageSteam.com right now to get him to apply MicroSeal for you. You can even make appointments online at AdvantageSteam.com. We've had MicroSeal for years at Williams Manor, and it treats a lot more than carpets. MicroSeal protects virtually all fibrous materials, including wool, cotton, silk, suede, leather, and synthetic fabrics. It protects upholstery, carpets, rugs, draperies, and clothing, including wedding dresses. And ladies, you're going to need what? 3 or 4 of those in your lifetime. And it protects against stains, moisture, and UV degradation without changing the texture. Also, if you're an interior designer, Joel has a special program just for you, and all you have to do is say the password, which is what? What? There's no password, I guess. Never mind. Whoever you are, contact Joel at AdvantageSteam.com. And if you're an interior designer, tell him, I guess. I don't know. That's AdvantageSteam.com, where you'll learn more about MicroSeal and everything else that Joel offers. At AdvantageSteam.com, that's AdvantageSteam.com, AdvantageSteam.com. Longtime advertiser Sue Berry, that's Berry with an A, is more important now than ever. Sue and her team have been serving Northern Nevada and the outlying areas for 30 years, and her experience in both commercial and residential lending is vital, as every day we're bombarded with news of interest rates, the market, the economy, and a bunch of other stuff that Sue can actually make sense of while everyone else's eyes glaze over. Now remember, it's Sue Berry with an A, B-A-R-R-Y, SueBerry.com. Most people think berry is spelled like a fruit or Halle Berry, but no, it's Sue Berry with an A, like soul singer Barry White's first name.
I've heard people say,
stop that. Sue is a broker versus a retail lender, which means she can shop over 150 different lenders to get you the very best rate possible. And on average, someone who uses a broker like Sue saves over $10,000 per loan, which includes refinancing. And if you have a rate at 6.5% or higher, call Sue for a free quote now on a refinance. Sue Berry and her incredible team from Barrett Financial can be found at SueBerry.com. That's Berry with an A. I've been working with Sue and recommending her to you for years. All you need to do is call her now so she can get you pre-approved. Just call your residential and commercial lending expert, Sue Berry, at 775-843-9983. Oh, Rob, stop. You're going too fast. What was the number again? 775-843-9983. Or just head to SueBerry.com. The number's right there. Berry is B-A-R-R-Y. Sue Berry with an A.com. That's Sue Berry, B-A-R-R-Y.com, SueBerry.com.
Disclaimer, Sue Berry, NMLS number 366040, Barrett Financial Group, LLC, NMLS number 181106, Nevada 5091, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Steve has been running sports books for decades, and Rob spent decades running radio so far into the ground he just created his own network. This is the Rob and Steve Sports Show on the RAD Network.
To the NFL, in case you were wondering, the Atlanta Falcons do not have a quarterback competition. That is according to quarterbacks coach Alex Van Pelt, who said yesterday he believes there is no competition between Tua Tagovailoa and Michael Penix Jr. until Penix is able to do all of the things in practice that Tua can do. Okay, that makes sense. Penix is recovering from a ACL surgery in November. He has yet to be cleared for 11-on-11 team sessions. He's been at practice. He's doing 7-on-7s, more than what many say he would be doing 7 months after ACL. Van Pelt said, quote, "It's tough to have a competition when both guys aren't competing at the same level right now." Why do I feel like I'm being spoken to by Captain Obvious? Yeah, okay, great.
Because you are.
Right? What
one guy's in a wheelchair, one guy's fully healthy. Of course there's not a quarterback competition.
We'll get there. Well, I assume we'll get there. This just cleared. The Bengals have made a procedural move to gain some more cap space, according to a joint report from both ESPN and the NFL Network. Cincinnati has restructured Joe Burrow's contract to create $10 million in cap space for the club. The Bengals did this to help pay for defensive tackle Dexter Lawrence, who was acquired earlier this off. What, they got him and they couldn't pay for him? They thought, oh, here it is. They thought they could do what they wanted without restructuring Burrow's deal, but the Lawrence deal made the Bengals want to free up some breathing room. So Burrow pulled a Mahomes, a Brady. He said, "Yeah, just move my stuff around and get us the players we need." Because when I first saw it, I'm like, "What are they going to do?" But it's just to kind of give him some space, literally, moving forward.
Wouldn't it be nice if they brought in like a Stephon Diggs or someone like that to help fill out that wide receiver?
Yes.
We got a little cap room. Let's see what we can do.
I'm still curious about the Stephon Diggs thing and why he's sitting out there. I'm curious why the Niners haven't signed him. I don't know what I'm missing with the Stephon Diggs thing. I don't.
Plus, they say Booty's going to be available with the Patriots because he doesn't.
Yes.
You know, they've strengthened that. Where's he going to end up? That's the one I expect the Niners to go offer. You know, like a 5th round draft pick or 6th round draft pick, something like that, and just bring him on board.
Good. That'd be great. You know what's funny? Somebody asked me. Today between our shows, somebody asked me who my favorite player on the 49ers was right now, and I couldn't answer because it's like this melange of McCaffrey comes to mind, but like favorite player, if Kittle comes to mind, it's not that team that I look at and go, "Oh, I love this guy." It's the whole amalgam, if you will. I can tell you McCaffrey's the most important. Purdy has to step up, all that. But just like that favorite player thing, there isn't one. There isn't that guy. It's the whole team effort, I think, or not team effort. There just isn't anybody that stands out that I should be like, "Oh, that's the guy."
I relate to that very well. I haven't had a favorite player on the Lions in many years. Matthew Stafford was when he was there. It was probably Barry Sanders all the way to Matthew Stafford. I don't have anyone here. And take the Red Sox. I don't think I've had a favorite player on the Red Sox. I can't say that. Pedro Martinez was when he was there, but I haven't had one since Pedro Martinez. I like the team as a whole. It was sad because it was, I want to say about 4 years ago. It probably was at this point. There were more Yankee players that I liked than Red Sox players when we had Rizzo was there at first base. He's a Yankee, but I love Aaron Judge. I just do. He is such a great ball player. But I remember sitting there with a friend and we kind of went through it, and I'm like, there's more Yankee players I like than on the Red Sox. And that's not the case today. But that's kind of where my teams have gone as I've gotten older.
And if we shift to baseball, as you did, first time in a long time, I've had favorite players on the A's, and it's actually a few of them. Kurtz is the obvious one. Shea Langoliers, I think, I can't say he's underrated, but I don't think people truly understand the talent that Shea has and brings. And so it's nice when you can just start rattling off the players. Again, the team effort is all that matters. It was an odd thing for me to go, I don't really know who my favorite 49er is right now. But yeah, you can relate. And I'm trying to go back in my head like you did and go, when was the last time I was really aligned with a player? It can't be Steve Young. It can't be that long ago, but
maybe it is.
Maybe it is. I'll have to sit down and think at a
I don't
quieter
think
time.
you align with Alex Smith.
No crap bag Alex Smith. I did not. And I certainly didn't with Kaepernick.
Right. And I don't believe you would with Brock Purdy. I mean, I could see you aligning more with Mac Jones as the underdog. Look, coming in there. But unless he leads you to the Super Bowl, I can't see you jumping on that Mac Jones train either.
Well, the problem too is I really like Mac Jones, but the only way he gets a shot is Purdy gets injured, and we are the same guy. We can't root for that. I can't. Speaking of the NFL and your Lions, it's that time of the year where we just kind of everybody starts scrounging up. What can we write about? Well, how about worst to first stories? You got 8 last place teams last year. It's pretty easy, by the way, to look at the 8 teams and immediately go, okay, if you're going to rank them, which of the worst teams, last place teams, is most likely to be first, worst to first? Because if you don't remember, the Detroit Lions were a last place team last year. They finished in fourth in their division. So that to me, it's so obvious they're the obvious worst to first team. In fact, we went over their schedule. What did we have, Matt Steve? 13-4 for the year when we went over
You
the
had them
Lions?
13-4. I had them 12-5, I believe.
So the other
Or maybe
one,
I had them 13-4 and you had them 14-3, because I know you had one more win than I'm thinking I had them 13-4.
I mean, either way, I think we both have them in general winning the North, pending, of course, injuries and all that. That's the obvious one. The other last place teams in no particular order from last year, you got the Cardinals, the Saints, the Giants, the Raiders, the Titans, the Browns, and the Jets. Now, I've been high on the Titans since they hired Saleh. I like what they've got in place. I don't know that they're gonna. I don't know that AFC South. I'm still not a believer in the Jags. The Texans are the question with C.J. Stroud, but I don't see the Titans challenging this year to that level. But I do see them greatly improved. Other than that, I mean, the Giants, they got Harbaugh. That one sticks out to me. But I mean, is other than the Lions, do you see a worst to first scenario we should be paying attention to there?
The Saints. We went
Really?
through
'Cause
season win totals. We had the Saints as the most in that because they have the easiest schedule. We remember we started them all at 7-10, so they split every divisional game within that division, and the Saints have the easiest because of this last place finish of all the other teams in that division. Do I
and
think
the
they'll be
Saints,
great? No. I think they're winning 8 games and winning the
and
division, maybe 9
that'll be right.
tops.
That'll be enough to win the division, and they'll
Yep.
lose immediately. But that would be a worst to first situation, and that is who ESPN ranked as second behind the Lions. And we should point out that the Lions' schedule is 27th this season in the league, and they got Arizona on their schedule instead of the other three NFC West
Mhm.
teams. So the Lions benefit from being greatly improved. And when we were going over that schedule, I think you reacted the same way. I was like, my God, the Lions might lose two if they steal a couple.
No excuses this year. This has to be their year.
Yes. Now, playoff time, they've got to get there. They will get into the postseason. And then the question becomes, just like with baseball, right? You can get to the postseason. With baseball, do you have the pitching usually to keep up? With football, you get there, and is it still no excuses when they get into the postseason? When the Lions have to deal with the Rams, the Seahawks, maybe the Niners. Who knows? I don't know if the West can pull out three of them. Whoever wins the East, I don't know if there'll be an excuse there unless somebody really blows us away by winning the East with 13 wins or something. But is that what your mindset is as a Lions fan? That this is a Super Bowl year?
NFC Conference Championship game year.
Okay.
You should be the number 1 seed. Means you're at home throughout. You should win your first playoff game, which then puts them into that championship game. I think anything short of that is a bust. I really do.
And then third most likely worst to first, they went with the Giants. Because now you're into that, you're just ranking who was the worst and who will do better. The Titans, I'm okay with all that. The Raiders, they put fifth. I mean, they were 3-14 last year. So if they win 4, or did we give them 5? Did we get to 5 with the Raiders ever? Because when we looked at it, didn't we go more like 4.5? Was there over under?
Yeah, I think we may have gotten to 5, but that was more of a gift. I can't see anything more than 5.
Jets, Browns, and the Cardinals are last. They're least likely to. Well, of course they're going to be in last. They're in the AFC or the NFC West. I mean that.
Right, and the Raiders in the AFC West. I mean, both of those have 3 playoff teams and them in those divisions.
So let's continue our exercise. Randomly, I've pulled out the Dallas Cowboys and their schedule for 2026. We've got their over/under from DraftKings, which I'll find here in a second. But let's go through it and see what we think the Cowboys are going to do. Because with the NFC East, I don't like the Eagles. I don't like anything about them. I don't like their quarterback. I don't like their coach. I've been hoping that somebody was going to, and my hope is that Jaden Daniels is going to return to be Jaden Daniels and the Commanders. And I would love to see the Giants just because I like John Harbaugh. It would be great for me personally. Commanders and Giants own that division, and the damn Eagles and Cowboys are the forgotten ones. I know it won't happen, but that's what I'm rooting for. So let's see what we think the Cowboys will do this year, Steve. We'll go game by game. They begin at the New York Giants for Sunday Night Football.
Loss.
They host the Commanders.
Win.
You got to give them the win because we just don't know about Jaden.
Because I'm giving them the loss against the Giants. I think they'll be 1-1 after their first two.
How about after week 3 when they go to Brazil and they play the Ravens?
Loss.
They're at they're at the Houston Texans.
Loss.
Yep. They host the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Thursday Night Football.
Win.
Yeah. They go to Green Bay for Sunday Night Football.
Loss.
Yeah. Eagles, they go to Philadelphia for Monday Night Football.
Win.
No.
I'm jumping it with the win.
Okay. All right.
Monday night upset, road dog, cash ticket, divisional game.
All right, that's the only one that we've parted ways on. I think that the Cowboys win that one. They host the Cowboys do week 8. They host the Cardinals. Okay, let's go.
Win.
Right, and they're at the Colts.
Everyone is on the Cowboy bandwagon again now, and they lose to the Colts on the road.
Wow. All right, I'm giving them a win. Then they host the Niners.
Loss.
They host the Titans.
Win.
They host on Thanksgiving the Eagles.
A win.
That'll split them with the Eagles. Whereas I have.
No, I give them 2 wins over the Eagles. You have them splitting.
Wait a minute.
I'm sorry. Has me splitting. Has you giving them 2 wins?
Didn't you just say the Cowboys are going to win on Thanksgiving?
Oh, yes. Yeah. No, I'm correct. I have them winning in Philadelphia and on Thanksgiving. I have them going 2-0. Right. You have them splitting. Yes.
Right. That's what I said, isn't it? That's what I meant to say. If I didn't say it, I'm an idiot.
No, so I'm sure I just lost attention.
It's okay. Let's see here. They're at Seattle in week 13.
Loss.
Then what's your opinion of that week 14 bye? You don't like that, do you?
I hate those. That's so late in the season. You have so many injuries you have to deal with. And even by getting the bye that late, normally you got too many problems on your roster.
So they get the bye in week 14. Then they're at the Rams.
Loss.
They host the Jaguars for Sunday Night Football.
Win.
They host the New York Giants.
Win.
And they finish the season at the Commanders.
How many wins do I have?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8.
A win the last week to fall just short of the wild card.
At 9-8.
Yes.
That is exactly what the USA Today came up with. A 9-8 record for the Cowboys. They don't go as far into whether or not that gets them into the playoffs or not. 9-8 for the Cowboys this year without looking game by game seems like, well, the Cowboys always do. It seems like another disappointing Cowboys season. That's not enough. 9-8 for all the hype, all the Cowboys stuff that we have to deal with. 9-8's not good enough.
Isn't that reality? What we go through every season?
Yes. That's the thing about, I think that is the thing that drives so many people so nuts about the Cowboys and all the attention they get, is that they just refuse to live up to it if they pull off a 9-8. Their over-under, by the way, was 10.5 somehow, at least with DraftKings. And that was, I think, a month ago that they're using that for.
And even if they get there, they're going for the winning field goal. Tony Romo's going to fumble the kicking football as it slides through his hands, and they find a way to lose even that way.
Yes, that just seems to be who the Cowboys are right now. We'll be back tomorrow.
This has been a presentation of the Rob and Steve Sports Show, brought to you by the Rad Network and is copyrighted by the radnetwork.com and Williams Broadcasting for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction, accounts, or descriptions of whatever Rob and Steve just talked about without the express permission of the Rad Network, Williams Broadcasting, and Rob's really mean